Hey, what's going on everyone? Thanks for checking out this video. My name is Travis from Master the Market, and this is going to be a quick video talking about swing trading, and we're going to go over some tips and strategies that you can actually use to swing trade profitably in the stock market. So first and foremost, in case you're not familiar with swing trading, what exactly it is holding a position anywhere usually from a couple of days all the way up to sometimes a couple of months. And generally a swing trader is going to plan on holding a stock for usually a couple of weeks at a time before exiting out of their position. And obviously that differs from day trading, which is when you get in and out of positions within the same day. And the idea of day trading is to look to take advantage of those quick price fluctuations in the market. So because swing trading is a little bit longer term, generally speaking, you're going to be using a little bit of a longer term time frame on your chart to do some analysis in while you're doing any kind of charting. So if we have AMD over here on this chart, when you're swing trading, you're probably going to be looking at something like the hourly chart, maybe the 4-hour chart, or even the daily chart, sometimes even the weekly chart if it's going to be a longer term swing trade. Whereas again, with day trading, since it's much shorter term, you're probably going to be looking at a shorter term time frame, such as the 1 minute, the 5 minute, or even the 10 or 15 minute. Okay, and one thing to keep in mind about the differences between day trading and swing trading is that more often than not, you're going to be day trading and swing trading completely different types of stocks and completely different setups. Usually the stocks that you day trade are going to be much more volatile. They're going to have a lot more quick price movements in the market, and the idea is to look to, again, take advantage of those quick price movements, getting in and out of positions sometimes within minutes. But again, because swing trading is a little bit more longer term, something like IMMP here, which is the top percent gainer for the day, although this might make a great day trade because it is a big gainer for the day and it's having a ton of movement today, it's not necessarily going to be the type of stock that you want to look to swing trade, because your swing trades are generally going to be a little bit less volatile and a little bit more stable and consistent with their price fluctuations. So now you're probably wondering how exactly you actually find the best stocks to swing trade, and that's where using some kind of screener or some kind of scanner is going to come into play. So I'm actually going to go over to the finviz.com screener, and this is a completely free screener. It's going to allow you to narrow down the market to stocks meeting your specific criteria, and all you have to do is go to finviz.com and click on screener up here at the top. And then we're going to make sure that we have all selected up here so we can see all the different criteria that we can use to actually narrow the market down further and further. And right off the bat, you can see that in this screener, there is 7,496 total stocks. And every time that we put in a little piece of criteria, it's going to narrow that down to a smaller and smaller number. And the stocks that we're left with in the end are then going to be potential swing trades that we can keep on watch. So first and foremost, a lot of these are going to be preference, but what I'm going to do is put in some criteria. I want to see that they are stocks in the United States. I prefer them to have an average volume of at least 200,000 shares. And all that's doing is making sure that these stocks are liquid enough for us to buy and sell without having any liquidity problems. I'm also going to limit this screen to stocks with a price of at least $15 per share. And again, this is just preference. If you're somebody that likes to trade smaller price stocks, you can maybe be looking for stocks that are under $10 per share. Or if you like higher price stocks, you can of course look for stocks maybe over $50 or even over $100 per share. But the last thing that I want to put in here is actually going to be the sector. And when it comes to the sector, this is going to be a little bit different every time that you use the screener here on FinViz. And what you're going to want to do, since we're looking for stocks that already have some kind of upward momentum, we want to look for stocks that are in a sector that is performing really well. And the way that you can do that is by going to groups up here at the top. And this is going to break down the sector by sector performance over the past 1 day, the past 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, half year, 1 year, and even year to date. And the idea behind this is to get into a stock that is in a really well performing sector, maybe while it's pulling back or it's having a dip in the market. So that way you can take advantage of the overall sector's upward movement without buying in at the exact top of the move. And I'm going to show you over in Thinkorswim here in just a moment how you can do some basic technical analysis to avoid buying all the way at the top and look for those dips and look for those pullbacks to buy into these stocks. But first and foremost, what you want to do is pick a sector that is performing really well over the past week or month or even 3-month period. And in this case, you can see that the energy sector has been performing really well compared to the other sectors in the market. So if we go back to our screener and up here at the top, we go to sector and select energy. Just like that, with those 4 pieces of criteria, we already narrowed the market down to just 56 total stocks. So from there, the way that I like to narrow this down further and get my very small watch list of potential swing trades is to actually just hover over the price column over here on the right side, and go down the list and look for stocks that are in a really nice uptrend, consistently making both higher highs and higher lows on their charts. And what I'm going to do is keep a list of those stocks with a really nice uptrend, for example, like the one we see here with BKR. And once I have that much smaller list, then I'm going to take that over to Thinkorswim and do a little bit more advanced technical analysis and start to actually plan out my entries and my exits for this stock. So you can see that COG, for example, obviously is not in a strong uptrend. It's making lower lows and lower highs. So that's probably one that, even though it meets the other criteria here on this screener, I would avoid this and probably would not look to take a position in this stock at the time. On the other side of the spectrum, if we find another good uptrend here, for example, like the one we see here with DCP, it's pretty consistently trending up, higher highs, higher lows. So what I would do is, you can click on this and actually get some more information about the stock, some information about their earnings and their financials. You can see some quick information about the insider ownership and the institutional ownership. But more importantly, for this type of swing trading, what you see is that, again, the stock is in an uptrend. So if we take this back over to the Thinkorswim platform to do some more technical analysis, and we search DCP, at this point, you found a stock that's going to be a potential swing trade. So the next step is going to be to actually start planning out that swing trade, looking for potential entry points and exit points, and of course, having in the back of your mind what your max risk is going to be. So that way you can cut your loss if the trade happens to move against you. Now, when it comes time to actually enter one of these types of momentum swing trades, we're looking to, again, take advantage of this sector that is performing really well. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you want to just buy in at any given time and take advantage of that upward momentum. Instead, what you want to do is look for a pullback to safely buy into the stock while it's not overbought. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a few lines here on this chart to give myself an idea of where I would actually look to buy into this stock. Okay, and these are the two things that I see here as potential entry points for this stock DCP. We can see very clearly that it is in an uptrend. It's making both higher highs and higher lows. So if you connect those lows with a trend line, that trend line is going to be a continued potential line of support that you can look to use to actually buy into the stock. So in the future, if this were to pull back to this trend line down here, this again is a potential line of trend line support. And that's going to be an area where you can look to buy the dip in the stock. And by doing so, you're going to have a pretty low amount of risk, because if the stock happens to break below that trend line, then you know the trend line support is no longer valid. And that's going to be a great sign to actually cut your losses on the trade and just move on to the next one. Another way that you can look to do this is by looking at past lines of support and resistance. And if we take a look at this white line here, this was an area of resistance in the past on a few different occasions. And one very important thing about resistance is that a past line of resistance that has been broken through, just like we see here with DCP, can then turn into a level of support. So if this stock was going to pull back to this past line of resistance, it can now act as a level of support, and the stock may very well bounce off of this support line before it continues higher. So I would look to take advantage of that support by buying in here maybe in the low 16s and using that as a potential area to enter into this swing trade position. Now, with that being said, you also want to keep an idea of where you're going to potentially exit out of the trade and lock in your profits even before you actually buy into the trade. So if we go ahead and zoom out of the chart a little bit, I'm just going to go ahead and draw some resistance on this chart. And we can zoom out even a little bit further to see any past levels of support and resistance. But you can see that really, for the most part, this is the nearest major level of resistance for this stock, up here at about $26 per share. So because of that, we know that historically the stock has a difficult time breaking above $26. So that's going to be a really good starting point for looking at where you would take profits on this trade if the trade moved in your favor. If the stock continued to go up after you bought in at the dip, you know that historically, again, it's going to have trouble breaking above $26. So it may be a really good idea to take some of your profits, if not all of your profits, just below that $26 resistance level area. And at the end of the day, this very simple technical analysis, just looking at trend lines and levels of support and resistance, after you narrowed the market down and found a list of stocks that have really good potential to be good swing trades, is a great way to start swing trading and taking advantage of the upward momentum in different sectors in the market. So if you are new to swing trading, give this a shot and let me know in the comments how this type of swing trading works out for you. And if you found this video helpful and enjoyed, please make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future videos. Also, if you're interested in more in-depth education about day trading, swing trading, and even long-term investing, all of that can be found at my website, Master the Market, which will be the first link down below in the description. But anyway, thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and good luck with your trading.